with the latest polls showing that it's a tight race between Harris and Trump, what is the strategy of the Democratic Party right now in the final meters before Election Day?
Thank you very much for hosting me. And first of all, you know, if you looked at the CNN report this morning, Harris has a large lead compared to Mr. Trump. In addition to that, 48 million people casted their ballots out of 158 million who can cast their vote, which means that almost 25% of them voters who are eligible to vote have casted their vote. The strategy of the Democratic Party was exemplified yesterday when by Harris when she had given a speech to a huge number of constituents that consisted of compromise of Democrats and Republicans at the stage where Trump lost a few years back when he received the results of the election and caused the insurrectionist to take place or the insurrection to take place. She took the stage at the same exact location where the White House was on her back, and she had promised America that he had a domestic list of enemies, and he had an action list to serve the American people, all aspects, economy, immigration, and she showed herself to be a powerful leader and with a vision, and she has energy, and she has the plan and the vision to lead the government. And I think that is something that was significant. Most of the reporters, including the New York Times and CNN, praised her for what she did. And I do believe that she made a big difference where she instigated Trump to go in front of his constituents and start really her. You know, Trump relies a lot on lies, unfortunately, and relies on division,
Okay.
and relies on threatening people or
Okay, we'll talk about the war of words just in a moment, Mr. Maher. Let me just get Mr. Hazem in the conversation, and let's talk, Mr. Hazem, on what are the most important key messages that Trump is trying to focus on, specifically in trying to sway the undecided voters. When we saw him in Pennsylvania, we saw him in Michigan, the two largest swing states in this year's election.
Well, first of all, for your viewers, I need to clarify what your guest has mentioned, that Harris has a huge lead over Trump, according to CNN. I don't know where that is coming from. That's not true. Let's look at numbers very quickly, if you don't mind. We got Nevada, Wisconsin, North Carolina, absolutely even. Trump has a less than 1 point lead in Pennsylvania. Harris has less than 1 point lead in Michigan. Georgia and Arizona are leaning Trump.
It's a tight race that's based on most
polls. I was going to say,
right.
All of the above is within a 4% margin of error. So it's a complete toss-up at this point.
Okay.
There is no direction. Now, going back to messaging, this is important. The American people are very clear on their own priorities. The voters have been very clear with everybody. Economy first. The inflation that is not under control right now is a massive problem. Obviously, there is a national security concern when it comes to the U.S. southern border, and that does affect the economy. And still on the economy overall line, obviously national debt and future planning. When we see Kamala Harris promising added services to Medicare, well, Medicare is a bankrupt system that is out of funding. That shows us that she does not really know what she's talking about. When Trump talks about reforming Medicare, now we know that actually he has something there, because what the system needs to reform right now, not piling of services that it cannot provide. That system will fail eventually if the Democrats keep pressuring.
doesn't really for that, has he, Mr. Hazem?
A plan does not exist on either side. Let's be very clear. Right now, we're talking policy, and that needs, again, this is part of the left-wing media. It's like, oh, you do not have a plan. Well, nobody has a plan at this point. The plan takes a lot of work and a lot of people working on it, and usually happens after you are part of the White House and part of the government. What we have is a policy, and that matters. Trump's policy is clear that the system needs reform, and every expert agrees with that policy. To ask somebody who is running for office if he has a full plan, it's a bit unfair, don't you think?
Okay, let me go to Mr. Maher. How do you comment on this?